Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Cycle 5858. I am Amish Cycle. Foreign news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please, let's go to the headlines.
Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, breaking news, this new system, dangerous cold and snow, a new blast of winter moving in. This new Clipper system moving across the Midwest and into the Northeast. Wind chills in single digits in the teens from Michigan to Virginia up to the Northeast. Several inches of snow in some places, dangerous driving. Ginger Z timing it all out. In New York City tonight, alleged killer Luigi Mangione seen making a fist in court in his battle to have evidence tossed from the case. Tonight, what an officer testified on the stand today, what she found in that bag, including a fully loaded magazine, and what the defense is now claiming. Tonight, President Trump backtracks on whether he will release the video of that controversial second deadly strike on those two survivors. The president saying he has now seen the video, and what he's also saying tonight. The major aftershock a short time ago, images coming in now, a major 7.5 earthquake in Japan. There have been multiple injuries, and we have the images tonight. Back here in the U.S., the Boston area husband on trial for murdering his wife. The mother of three disappearing on New Year's Day. The surveillance video played of that husband, prosecutors say video and receipts show he bought a hacksaw, hatchet, a mop, buckets, and hydrogen peroxide. You'll see some of that video right here. Dramatic images showing a commuter train slamming into an SUV on the tracks. Tonight, Martha Stewart making headlines, revealing what she wants done with her when she dies. And our Made in America Christmas is back. Tonight, one delicious idea, the famous pasta and sauce, and our surprise while we were there. They have no idea that we're going to let them have a little taste test. This is what happens when you visit New York. I'm David Muir from ABC. How are you? How this all goes, right here tonight. From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David.
Pat, do you think it's possible that this wasn't charity fraud at all? They were just spending $1 billion on Imodium?
Look, I don't understand why he feels like he wasn't allowed to not like it.
Yeah.
You know, like what? Like, okay, so my dad hates Polish food. He still loved my mom enough to have 3 children with her, you know, and like this guy doesn't have to like those Somalian guys that much.
Yeah.
But you could be like, not my. It doesn't mean like I literally hate you, and it seems so strange.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to like if you don't like the food, you can be like, I this wasn't the best thing. I'm glad I tried it. How are you guys doing? Rather than like, this is the best food I've ever eaten in my whole life. I'm never gonna eat any other food except this. Like, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, but when you eat, this guy placates everybody. Cheryl, I have to. You probably are forced to eat all sorts of weird things because that's all RFK does is eat weird things.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't force me to eat them, but if there's a weird truck on the side of the road that's selling meat pies, handmade, they're rolling around and giving to you, he gets 100. But I think I became a vegetarian when I saw, I grew up in Florida and my dad would eat pickled pig's feet.
Oh.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
So I steer clear of.
Yeah, I'm having second thoughts about pork. What was that? Do we have a pig back there, Tyrus?
Vanity always goes over, so I tied him up this week so we get everything started.
I cannot watch those Instagram reels with piglets because now I can't eat.
Because you love the pigs.
I love.
It's like the 3rd day in a row I've heard you talk about this.
Because I eat so much bacon, and now I see these little piglets, and I go, I can't eat them.
Yep.
I know. They're
I
so
love
hard
that
in
you
here.
still do settle on eating them.
Well, I do.
It's already done.
It's already done. I mean, it's not like I can put the bacon back into the pig.
I mean, it's not like eggs where the chicken kind of goes all in. It's a pig. He went all out.
Yeah.
He left everything he could on that that plate.
Yeah.
You know, in life, Greg, you got to ask yourself, are you the bacon or you the eggs? You going to go halfway or you going to go all out? That's why you respect the baby pigs, because their sacrifices led to your success. So,
Thank you so much. You could tell he didn't like it because he was playing with his food.
no, you know what? This is what I'm sorry, but this is bullying.
Yeah.
And I know this because I've done this. Also, you've seen when guys try too hard. That you really like this girl, and she's a horrible cook. And you come over to her house for dinner, and her food is awful. But you're still hoping for the Olympics later on this evening, so you're going to eat that awful food.
Wait, you're saying Jacob wanted to have sex with that man?
No, I'm saying that would be if he did, I would respect him for eating that.
Nerves flying high this Monday night with Air Transat pilot set to walk off the job in days.
If I don't say I'm not worried, that's a lie.
How the negotiations are going and how much money the airline could lose if a strike happens. Another tariff threat, why the U.S. president is now targeting Canadian potash. Paramount says, forget Netflix, the hostile bid to take over Warner Brothers. Plus, putting the Golden in Golden Globe nominations.
My first reaction was just pride.
How K-pop Demon Hunters and its Canadian creator are taking the world by storm.
Global National with Donna Friesen.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Air Transat says flights are operating as planned even as a strike deadline looms just ahead of the busy holiday season. The airline said on Sunday it would begin grounding flights to prepare for a possible strike after the pilots' union issued a 72-hour strike notice. Now it says progress has been made in negotiations and that the gap between both sides is narrowing by the minute. Mike Armstrong has our top story on where this leaves Air Transat passengers.
It may be that no news is good news for now. Air Transat over the weekend said it would start canceling flights Monday. That didn't happen. It held off. In its latest statement, the airline says, quote, negotiations continued through the night and we have made progress. Discussions are ongoing. Welcome news to passengers caught in the middle. Flying out, unsure if the airline will fly them back.
If I don't say I'm not worried, that's a lie.
Yeah, so I'm a little scared we won't be able to fly back.
It's out of my control. I would just, not something I want to deal with while I'm there, how to figure out how to get back, especially with 2 kids.
The pilots' last collective agreement expired in April, but it was signed back in 2015. The pilots' union says it wants improvements to things like pensions and working conditions, and that salaries haven't kept up with the rest of the industry. Aviation industry expert Geraint Harvey.
But I think the key part with this with Air Transat is it's been a decade since the negotiation happened last, and the world is a very different place.
Now, there has been some public negotiating. Air Transat said Sunday it's put on the table a 59% salary increase over 5 years. The pilots' union says that isn't actually what was offered. But it is the pilots that arguably hold most of the power in this conflict. The airplanes don't take off if they don't turn the key. That said, it doesn't necessarily mean the airline will or can give them what they want. Air Transat lost $114 million last year and is heavily in debt. The strike would hurt. There are estimates the airline could lose $7 to $9 million a day. And add to that extra expenses to get stranded passengers home. For the company, this battle may be over salaries and survival. Mike Armstrong, Global News, Montreal.
The possibility of a pipeline from Alberta to BC's coast is going to a vote in Parliament tomorrow. It's a tactic by the federal Conservatives to try to force Liberal MPs to declare whether they really support the construction of one or more pipelines to BC's coast, lifting the oil tanker ban and respecting the duty to consult Indigenous people. The vote is non-binding, meaning it really is just political theater, but as Mackenzie Gray explains, it could be revealing. Let's build a pipeline.
Most Conservatives are
Good morning, it's 6 o'clock on Tuesday the 9th of December. These are your headlines this hour. Initial reflections from the maternity failings investigation finds some women experience unacceptable care. But victims worry the final report lacks enough bite to create real change.
I was quite disappointed by the fact that it just seemed to be a bullet point list of failings that actually we've seen time and time again.
Ukraine prepares to share a revised peace proposal with the United States after European leaders gathered narrative. The government unveils the branding for Great British Railways as the Commons prepares to debate renationalising all of Britain's rail network. Liverpool head coach Arne Slot says he's no clue if Mohamed Salah has played his last game for the club. And at 6:40, we'll see what's making the headlines in today's papers with Michael Kill, head of the Nighttime Industries Association. Very good morning to you. The chair of the Maternity and Neonatal Investigation says that nothing prepared her for the scale of unacceptable care that women have received and the tragic consequences for their babies. Baroness Amos has published her initial reflections following meetings with families and 7 of the 12 NHS trusts that are under the microscope, saying what she's found so far is much worse than anticipated. Today's report is the first step towards a set of national records to be handed down next year. Victims are concerned that the report lacks the teeth to bring about any real change. Our health correspondent Laura Bundle picks up the story.
Rebecca's children are now 9 and 4, but she's still haunted by the trauma of their births.
The care was, I could only describe it as callous. There wasn't any kindness there. I was left in my own blood.
Rebecca formed a campaign for families failed by Oxford University hospitals, one of 12 NHS trusts under investigation in a maternity review. But Rebecca finds its initial reflections troubling.
I was quite disappointed by the fact that it just seemed to be a bullet point list of failing. Actually, time before.
This latest maternity investigation was announced by the Health Secretary Wes Streeting in June after a series of shocking scandals.
Crucially, the investigation team, in terms of referenced, will be co-produced with the victims of maternity scandals. The investigation will also pull together the recommendations from the other.
Gives. Today, former nurse Rajwinder Singh sentenced to life behind bars for the murder of Queensland woman Toya Cordingley. This hour, the Reserve Bank shares its final rates decision of 2025 and its tip to keep cash rates on hold. The Victorian Premier delivers an apology to First Nations people as part of the state's historic treaty. To ensure that the wrongs of the past are never repeated, we say sorry. And the Defence Minister declares also is Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Ross Childs. Former nurse Rajwinder Singh has been sentenced to life behind bars for the murder of Toya Cordingley on a final week. Years and Singh, selfish and heartless individual. 24-year-old Miss Cordingley had gone to Wangeti Beach to walk her dog on October the 21st, 2018. Her body was found buried in a shallow beach grave the next day. Miss Cordingley's parents delivered emotional victim impact statements to the court. Justice Crowley told Singh he hoped that he listened to the depth of their pain. We'll have more from our reporter Conor Byrne outside the court shortly. Local shares are trading down ahead of the Reserve Bank's final rates decision of 2025 later this hour, with the cash rate expected to remain on hold at 3.6%. Market analysts will be closely watching any indications of the central bank's next move from its post-meeting statement. Most economists expect a rate hike by the end of next year, but there are a handful who still think a cut in 2026 is possible. The board will next meet in February, but will have live coverage and analysis of today's rates announcement. That'll be in just under 20 minutes' time. Hundreds have gathered in Victoria's Parliament House for the government's apology to the state's First Peoples for past injustices. The apology came during a special sitting of Parliament and specifically mentioned the state's responsibility for policies and laws which contributed to systemic injustices against Aboriginal Victorians. The Premier described the historic moment as an opportunity to remake the relationship between the state and its First Peoples.
To ensure that the wrongs of the past are never repeated, we say sorry.
This is Asia Now.
It's 2 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 11:30 in New Delhi and 1 in Jakarta. I'm Paul Suk. At this hour, a second day of deadly clashes between Thailand and Cambodia as both sides vow to continue fighting, with more deaths reported and hundreds of thousands of civilians forced to flee. Japan is assessing damage from last night's powerful 7.5 magnitude quake that left at least 30 people injured, as authorities warn of stronger tremors in the coming days. And in business, a major policy shift as US President Donald Trump greenlights the export of advanced NVIDIA chips to China. Fresh fighting along the Thailand-Cambodia border, with tensions now in the second day threatening a week-old ceasefire. The Thai army says there is ongoing engagement, accusing Cambodia of heavy rocket fire and shelling, and reporting severe impact from suicide drones. Cambodia claims the Thai military is also using drones to carry out firing. The death toll in Cambodia rising to 7 civilians, while 3 Thai soldiers have reportedly died. Gunfire and explosions shook border towns early yesterday. On the Thai side, the army is saying more than 430,000 people have been evacuated. The fighting is said to be the fiercest since July, when a 5-day exchange killed more than 40 people. Hundreds of thousands also fleeing to safety in Cambodia. The country earlier denied firing back, but today, influential former leader Hun Sen said Cambodia retaliated. He said they held back for more than 24 hours to respect the ceasefire and allow civilians to evacuate, but responded last night and again this morning. Hun Sen warned that troops must fight at all points, that is, attacked to defend itself. Thailand, meanwhile, has vowed to protect national interests.
ประเทศไทยไม่เคยต้องการเห็นความรุนแรงโดยยืนยันว่าประเทศไทยไม่ข้อยึดหลักสันติภาพความมั่นคงและมนุษยธรรมเป็นสำคัญ
The US is trying to shore up the truce it brokered along with Malaysia. A senior White House official says President Donald Trump is committed to the continued cessation of violence and expects Cambodia and Thailand to fully honor their commitments. Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim called for maximum restraint, warning that the renewed fighting risks unraveling the careful work that went into stabilizing relations. Thailand and Cambodia are members of ASEAN, and Malaysia is the current chair of the bloc. Mr. Anwar said the region cannot afford to see long-standing disputes slip into cycles of confrontation. The UN also made calls for restraint.
Africa News. The news.
M23 rebels, supported by the Rwandan army, are continuing their advance in the South Kivu region of the DR Congo, local sources say. On Saturday, the rebels took control of the strategic town of Luvungi, near the border with Burundi, and several surrounding villages. Thousands of people have been forced to flee their homes as the fighting intensifies. A spokesperson for the Congolese armed forces told the African News that government troops had withdrawn from Luvungi to avoid major damage and to protect civilians. In a statement, the army said that shells fired from inside Rwanda had hit communities in the Ruzizi plain, killing civilians and destroying schools, health centers, and homes. Independent sources say that the rebels are now advancing towards the town of Uvira. The escalation in fighting comes just days after the leaders of the DRC and Rwanda met with US President Trump in Washington and reaffirmed their commitment to an earlier peace plan signed in June. The pact between Felix Tshisekedi and Paul Kagame followed intensive efforts by the US and other partners, including the African Union and Qatar.
A trucker strike in Cameroon has brought major disruptions to one of the country's primary commercial routes, National Highway. The crisis is centered in the Adamawa region near the gateway to Maingenga, where hundreds of trucks destined for northern Cameroon, Chad, and the Central African Republic have been stranded for 5 days. Truck drivers said the protest in response to what they described as ongoing harassment along the route. The immediate trigger for the large-scale walkout was an incident involving an alleged police violence. According to reports, a gendarme slapped a truck driver on the outskirts of Maingenga, sparking the protest. This altercation reignited long-standing anger among transporters over unfulfilled promises by authorities following a previous strike after the post-presidential election violence in October 2025.
The humanitarian system is overstretched, underfunded, and under attack. The United Nations humanitarian chief warned on Monday as he launched an appeal for $23 billion for 2026. The UN's goal for next year is to save 87 million lives through 29 response plans in 50 countries.
What do we need in order to save 87 million lives next year? We need protection for our work. We need that energetic peacemaking. And we need $23 billion. Of course, we need so much more. But this plan shows how we will spend that first $23 billion of what I'm sure we will raise on the most urgent, prioritized life-saving work. And I know budgets are tight right now. Families everywhere are under strain. But the world spent $2.7 trillion on defense last year, on guns and arms. And I'm asking for just over 1% of that. The total global appeal could be fully funded if the global top 10% of earners, that's everyone earning over $100,000, gave just 20 cents a day.
Fletcher said that UN agencies reached 98 million people last year, even though its annual appeal brought in just $12 billion. At least 17 migrants attempting to cross the Mediterranean Sea in an inflatable boat died when it capsized south of the island of Crete. Greek authorities say the half-sunken dinghy was located on Saturday 36 nautical miles off the coast of Iera Petra by a passing Turkish merchant vessel. 2 Egyptian men were rescued alive by the Coast Guard. They were taken to hospital with symptoms of hypothermia, starvation, and dehydration. Greece is a major entry point into the European Union for people fleeing conflict and poverty in the Middle East, Africa, and Asia, and fatal accidents are a common occurrence. In recent months, arrivals from Libya to Crete have surged. Authorities have not yet determined where the boat came from.
This is DW
News coming to you live from Berlin. Fighting between Thailand and Cambodia spreads to more border regions. Cambodia sends reinforcements to southern areas and blames Thailand for killing more civilians. Tens of thousands on both sides of the border have fled the renewed fighting. Also coming up, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky struggles among allies to find a way forward against Russia's invasion and U.S. disengagement. Meeting in Brussels and London take place at what leaders call a crucial time.
France 24, live from Stockholm and on France 24 news programmes.
Paul Rees, one of the 200 France 24 correspondents around the world.
It's a daybreak on France 24. These are the headlines. Constructive and productive, the outcome of talks between Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders after another day of meetings about the war in Ukraine. They say they will send a revised peace plan deal to the United States this Tuesday. However, the crucial question of territory remains unchanged, with Zelensky saying Ukraine will not cede control. Overnight bombing along the border between Thailand and Cambodia. The Thai army reporting the death of 2 more soldiers. Cambodia saying 7 of its civilians have been killed and tens of thousands of people have evacuated the region.
Thank you for watching Amish Shakil 5858. I am Amish Shakil. I hope you will visit again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.